ripped right through the special teamers.
When you get 8 kickoff return attempts, you're going to figure out one of them.
I know, but he was fast. I was stunned.
Yeah, no, he's got speed. It's always been with the Bears special teams this year. It's always been a matter of running the ball out way too deep in the end zone. Blocking doesn't execute, and you get tackled at the 15, and you just want to bash your head through a wall. It's just like the days of Devin Hester being back there are gone.
Glad I'm not your house.
Oh God, it was bad. I'm sitting there. My poor wife was exhausted because she got a bummer of a work schedule, so she just exhausted. So she had passed out on the couch, and I'm watching the game, and I'm like, you got to be bleeping me. And it was just one thing after another. The blown coverage on Jordy Nelson the first time, and then the second time, it's like, what are we doing? If you can't execute a basic coverage check and not realize that, I'm the safety, I've got the deep half of the field over here, I need to cover this guy that's running by me. It's pretty clear that they were not on the same page, and I guess we don't know who was wrong on the first one, whether Tim Jennings was supposed to be in cover 3 and he shouldn't have passed on Jordy Nelson. Doesn't matter right now because you just look like a bunch of inept idiots. You don't have a football team out there on the field. You have a giant mess. It's like if you take this 5-star meal and put it in a Tupperware container and nuke it for 15 minutes, the Tupperware is just going to melt. No one's going to be able to eat anything, and that's what the Bears are, a Tupperware-covered 5-star meal.
Yeah. But now here's the thing, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about Jay Cutler. It's the only thing I'm going to say about – I know, how can I follow Tupperware?
Yeah, how can
the only thing I'm going to say about Jay Cutler, and I don't want to start an argument. This is just going to be a base statement. The reason why he gets all the garbage he does, and he will always, just like all quarterbacks do, when you're making the kind of money he makes and you don't play a solid, consistent game, you will always get the criticism. It'll happen with any quarterback, on any team, any part of the NFL. But when you are the highest paid base salary quarterback in the league and you play like garbage week after week after week, you're always going to get the most criticism, regardless if it's your fault or not. And that's the truth with any quarterback. Look at Tony Romo. When Dallas's defense was horrendous and he would throw a couple picks, he would always get lambasted more than the defense, more than anything. It's just the way it is. And that's what my biggest thing that I've always said about with Cutler is I didn't think he was worth the money. And it's just I'm not going to be surprised if he gets criticism because that's what you get when you get that kind of paycheck. You're going to get crap unless you have a good game without any turnovers and the rest of the team obviously loses it.
Well, let me follow that by saying that I don't care what paycheck he got. I don't care if he was the least paid player on the team. The thing that I expect from guys that play football professionally is when things go wrong, that they try to pull it together and try to get back into the game. I don't care if they still end up losing the game.
Exactly.
They can't. There's no way for them to come back and win the game. I just care that they salvage something, some decency of respect. Now, I can recall being on softball teams or baseball teams and getting blown away like that, and it's disgusting, and you do everything you can, and you just can't seem to get back. But I felt that something that was missing from the Bears, and I don't think it requires a coach for this, is players, professional athletes coming together and saying, guys, come on, let's do something here. Because that's where it just ended. Nothing. I mean, players were sitting off to the side with a glazed look on their face. At the end of the game, I get that. But in the middle of the game or before halftime, I don't get that at all. I don't know why you're not having a conversation with players and saying, guys, we got to make sure we do this, we got to make sure we do that. Even if you've had that conversation a million times, you got to have it again.
From what I read of Trestman's press conference, and no, I did not watch it. I just read the report.
But you should. I'm encouraging you to.
Okay, I will. I will. I will. Was that these issues that showed up last night are not presenting themselves in practice. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if Jay Cutler is going through practice with sound fundamental footwork, ball security, sound decision making in the passing game, and then he gets out on the game field or the playing field and everything's changed. Is it poor preparation, or is it Jay Cutler pressing because there's all this pressure because people feel he's paid too much and he needs to be perfect with every throw? What is it really that's going on? Why is he practicing well and not performing?
Well, how many quarterbacks? I mean, I bet there are a lot of quarterbacks in it. I bet Mike Glennon practices well, and then he gets in the game, and lately he's been playing like garbage. Practice doesn't count to me. Practice is practice. I know I sound like Allen Iverson. Practice? You're talking about practice. It's how you play in the game. You're making the money for how you play in the game, not how you play in practice.
Right. No.
So, and honestly, to go with what Jim said, the reason why I love Andrew Luck so much is because they could be down by 30 points, and he's walking up and down that bench, slapping guys in the head, saying, we can get right back in this game. We can get – that is the kind of person I think needs to be leading a team, including our team. We need somebody that no matter if you're down 45-0 at halftime or 42-0, whatever it was, in the locker room you're like, we can come back. I know we can. We just need to play some solid defense and, never be out of that game.
Not everybody's like that.
That person does not exist on the Bears, not just Cutler, but nobody. Just like Jim said, there's not one player on that team that has that kind of fire. And I think it's the curse of Urlacher.
Yeah. There hasn't been a leader since Urlacher. There's been nobody to take that entire team by the short hairs and say, look, guys, this is what we're doing. You know, but it's on players like that have been there longer with some measure of success, like Briggs, to a lesser degree Forte. You know what I mean? The first really questionable Bears loss, other than Buffalo, was the first game that Forte got off running the ball, and I think it was Green Bay or whatever. He was wearing a T-shirt in his locker room that said "Happy," and he was having interviews like he didn't have a care in the world. You know what I mean? You those little things like that tells me that you don't get it. If you're fine with getting yours. Brandon Marshall went off after the Dolphins game saying that there's some selfish players on this team, and you just start wondering who the hell he's talking about. I saw an offensive squad give up last night.
Yeah,
there was no fighting for anything, and for whatever's going on, Cutler was not near any of his receivers on too many throws last night, and he's better than that. He's been better than that. He forces balls into coverage and makes stupid decisions and carries it like a loaf of bread and gets strip sacked, and that stuff drives you crazy. But as far as throws, it was very clear that he was throwing one pattern and guys were going another. And I don't know if we're ever going to really know what's really going on to create those discrepancies, but God, it was just god-awful. And that's on the head coach to wrangle everybody together. If nobody on that team is going to step up, then it's up to Tressman to pull everybody together.
But so far this season, the one player on that team who I would not criticize is Forte. He is the only one in a lot of these games that is obviously giving 100%, just by the fact that he has almost 100 yards in passing and receiving and rushing in quite a few games. I mean, he's definitely giving everything he can. I can understand why at this point he might be getting frustrated, because a lot of these games he's been dynamite and no one else has done anything.
This has been an abortion of a season from the first week where they threw and didn't run enough. And like you were saying before we came out of break, Jim, that Tressman was saying that Cutler audibled out of runs, scripted runs, in the first drive, and there was just no rhythm going on in the offense there. So you can't just say, oh, my God, he audibled out. Why would he audible out? Because sometimes it was the right thing to do to audible. But we don't. Yeah. And like Tressman said, I saw the report that you haven't even had a chance to watch the film with Jay and talk with it.
Yep.
So it's easy to sit and watch TV and just say, oh, that's bad, they suck. But we try to get down to the nitty-gritty. There's players on that team. As bad as Jay Cutler can be, he's capable of playing an NFL quarterback. He's capable of being an NFL quarterback. Why isn't he? I think it all points to the coaching staff, which just blows my mind because all those years with Lovie Smith, we had a defensive-minded coach who couldn't figure out the offense. Now we have an offensive-minded coach who apparently can't even figure out his own quarterback.
Well, I have a problem with that statement, though. This was a successful offense last season.
It was.
Right.
It was.
Without Jay Cutler.
No, that's not. It was successful with him too.
You could say without Jay Cutler it was successful and not as successful with Jay. But the reality is I still put it on the players. I mean, coaches are coaches. And you can't tell me these guys don't know what they're talking about. They're professional football coaches. They have a track record, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And the rest is up to the players to execute what's going on. If there's something wrong with the offense, then you go to the coach and you say, there's something wrong, and here's what I think it is. But I don't sense that that's what's going on. Yeah. And I'm concerned at some point here, I want to sort of move off what happened to what needs to happen. And what needs to happen is this Bears team has to show up this coming Sunday and whoop the Vikings at Soldier Field. That's what has to happen.
Not going to happen.
If they lose this week, oh my God.
It won't happen. But we'll get back to that. We'll get into that after we come back from break because we're going to go through our picks for Week 11. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans Live. It's the NFL Hour, not the Bears Hour. The NFL Hour.